हेलो गाइस। तो आज हम करेंगे क्लास 8 साइंस एनसीईआरटी न्यू कोर्स क्यूरोसिटी चैप्टर 5 एक्सप्लोरिंग फोर्सेस के इम्पोर्टेंट क्वेश्चंस एंड आंसर्स। हाँ, मैं कहती हूँ कि मैंने लास्ट वीडियो में भी क्वेश्चंस करवाए थे, बट दिस टाइम विद आंसर्स एज वेल। ऑल्सो मैं इसको एक्सप्लेन भी थोड़ा सा कर दूँगी, क्योंकि अगर बाई चांस अगर आपने क्वेश्चंस स्किप कर दिए हो लास्ट वीडियो के या एक्सप्लेनेशन नहीं समझे हो, तो ये थोड़े से और इजीली समझ में आ सकते हैं। सो लेट्स स्टार्ट। पहले हम करेंगे वेरी शॉर्ट आंसर क्वेश्चंस। तो फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन, व्हाट इज़ फोर्स? फोर्स इज़ अ पुश और पुल एक्टिंग ऑन एन ऑब्जेक्ट। तो ये मैंने डेफिनेशन आपको लास्ट क्लास में समझाई थी, राइट? पर अगर आपको इसको थोड़ा एक्सटेंड करना है तो आप ये भी लिख सकते हो, अ फोर्स इज़ अ पुश और पुल एक्सर्टेड बाय वन ऑब्जेक्ट ऑन अनदर ऑब्जेक्ट। ये दोनों ही सही है डेफिनेशंस, जस्ट बिकॉज अगर हम आराम से समझे तो अ फोर्स इज़ जस्ट अ पुश और पुल एक्सर्टेड ऑन समथिंग, एन ऑब्जेक्ट और अ ह्यूमन बीइंग एक्सेट्रा। ओके, अब what is the SI unit of force? The SI unit of force is Newton, which is denoted as N. It was found by Isaac Newton, Mr. Isaac Newton, sorry. तो आप इसको ऐसे भी लिख सकते हैं, it is Newton N, जो भी as you like it, ठीक है। नेम टू कॉन्टैक्ट फोर्सेस। अब हमने पढ़ा था कि कॉन्टैक्ट फोर्सेस बस दो ही होती है। द टू कॉन्टैक्ट फोर्सेस आर मस्कुलर फोर्स एंड फ्रिक्शनल फोर्स। यू कैन ऑल्सो गिव द एग्जाम्पल्स फॉर एक्स्ट्रा मार्क्स इफ यू लाइक। Then, name three non-contact forces: gravitational force, magnetic force, electrostatic force. Do not forget, in contact force, we only have two options, which is muscular force or frictional force. On the other hand, in non-contact forces, there are three names that comes to mind: gravitational force, magnetic force, and electrostatic force. What force pulls objects towards the earth? Gravitational force. As we studied earlier as well, the earth attracts objects due to its gravitational force, also known as gravity. Then, what force acts between two charged objects? Electrostatic force, which occurs due to the electric energy which is charged between two objects. What force acts between magnets? Magnetic force, of course. I told you that like poles repel, on the other hand, unlike poles attract. What force opposes the motion of an object? Frictional force, of course. It uses friction which opposes the motion of an object. Now, let's come to short answer questions. What are the effects of force? So, I told you four effects, but here I wrote five for much clear understanding. No, I think I wrote five only. Please see the last video to understand more clearly. Now, let me tell you the answer. A force can make a stationary object move, stop a moving object, change the speed of an object, change the direction of an object, change the shape of an object. Sorry, I have a little fever on my head, so my voice is not clear enough. But please read if you don't understand something, or give me questions in the chat box or in my community as per your convenience. Question 10. Why is it harder to pedal a cycle uphill? When a cycle moves uphill, gravity acts against its motion. Therefore, we need to apply more muscular force to pedal the cycle uphill. Now, due to friction and gravity, the motion acts against the cycle moving uphill. That's why we need to produce more muscular force to pedal the cycle. Then we have question 11. Why is it easier to slip on a wet floor? As I told you, smoother surfaces make less friction due to which we slip or fall. Water reduces the friction between our feet and the floor. Therefore, our feet can slide more easily at a wet floor. Then, what is friction? Give one example. We did this earlier as well. Friction is a force that opposes the relative motion between two surfaces in contact. Example, friction between a cricket ball and the ground slows down the ball. Now, here I gave questions for each of the force: muscular force, gravitational force, magnetic force. I'd like you to pause the video and read them aloud, write them somewhere, or just remember them in mind, because I told them earlier and explained very well if you say. But if you have any doubts, don't forget you can ask me anytime through my YouTube channel. Now, long answer questions. Differentiate between contact and non-contact forces. Contact forces, they act when objects are in contact with each other. Muscular force is an example of contact force. Also, frictional force is another example of a contact force. Non-contact forces, they can act without physical contact between objects. Gravitational force is an example. Magnetic and electrostatic forces are also non-contact forces. Explain balanced and unbalanced forces. When two or more forces acting on an object balance each other, they are called balanced forces. Balanced forces are not changing state. Sorry. Forces do not change the state of motion of an object. When the forces acting on an object do not balance each other, they are called unbalanced forces. Now, I also gave you an example of my brother and I are pulling tables from different sides. Sorry, yes, you can say pushing as well, because pushing is more convenient and it gets to the mind more easily. Now, we are pushing the table, though I am putting force as 1 Newton. On the other hand, my brother is putting force 2 Newton because he has more force. That's why the table would push my side and I'll lose. Here, example is given in a tug of war. If both teams pull the rope with equal force in opposite directions, the forces are balanced and the rope does not move. Explain different effects of force can produce. Now, I'd like you to read them aloud or write them on a piece of paper. Just pause the video and think a force can do what types of things. Now, I wrote 5. Let me tell an example for it as well. When we kick a football, the force can make it move, change its speed, and change its direction. Now, thinking questions that might come in exams just because we have logical thinking in them and they are more related to daily life. A football is rolling on the ground and gradually stops. Why? Two balloons are rubbed with wool and brought close to each other. They move away from each other. Why? So, these are some questions that I'd like you to pause the video, take a screenshot, and just read them aloud so that they get in mind. Now, MCQs. A force is basically I told you before, push or pull. Which of these is contact force? Muscular force. Do not forget, there are 4 options. If there was written frictional force, it would have also been correct. Now, which force caused a fruit to fall from a tree? Of course, gravitational force. We cannot forget an example of Mr. Isaac Newton himself, who discovered gravity through an exceptional way. Which force opposes motion? Friction. Which of these is a non-contact force? Magnetic force, of course, because we do not need a particular muscular force in it or any touch or just a feel. It can already do it by itself. Two objects with similar electric charges generally repel. Correct answer. Now, the most important questions to learn is what is force, differentiate between contact and non-contact forces, explain balanced and unbalanced forces, what is frictional force, and then explain gravitational, magnetic, electrostatic and other forces with example of course. Now, I'll take a break. You answer these questions. Rewatch this video until you get them in mind and do not forget. If any doubt, query or just want to type your answers and get them to me, you just need to approach me in my community or if enabled the chat box, then you can go that in that as well. Thank you and I hope you liked that session. Please subscribe to my channel as well.